Alright, here we are. This is a first edition of an all-new, all-different Bears book rundown. Over the past 2 years I have gotten a little distracted by some other things going on in my life. Knee surgeries, life in general. And I just, I am part of the Comic Book Bears podcast. So available on iTunes. So if you could, go over there and take a look and listen if you like me. Yeah. Anyway, I've gotten away from the whole doing the video weekly reviews, and I got a message from YouTube last week saying that they didn't know who I was, but they actually enjoyed listening to my rundowns because they weren't able to necessarily get the comic books that they got or that I would get, and they thought it was kind of funny. So he still says that he has nightmares about my destruction of Action Comics number 900. So if you have not seen that, feel free to go into my YouTube page and dig it up. I'm going to be trying to promote this kind of heavily towards through Facebook, through Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Now what I am going to be doing today is I recently was at Baltimore Comic Con, and I picked up a couple neat things, couple nice things. If you look over behind my shoulder, you see that's a lot of my trade paperbacks. On the top shelf is a lot of my Robert Jordan books, Robert Asprin. I collect a lot of stuff. But one of the things that I got, and it's a story that I had in the original format years and years ago. And at that time, I didn't know who the creator was. I didn't know who wrote it. I always knew who Kurt Swan was. Kurt Swan, if there was any creator on this planet that I could meet, Kurt Swan would have been it. This man just did so much for my youth. There's just no way to explain it. But the author in question is somebody who I have not liked very much. At least more of his personal attitudes and his personal beliefs, and that is Alan Moore. Now, what I picked up was the hardback of, it's going to come across as backwards, but anyway, is the Alan Moore, Kurt Swan's Superman, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. And Brian Bolland did the artwork, the replica of the original page, which I really didn't think that there was a need for that, per se. But anyway, this has one of the best stories ever. This was done right after Crisis of Infinite Earths, and we went, and at that time, we didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, I can remember as kids, everything was up in the air. Which Superman were we going to be reading? Which Wonder Woman, and this was, they knew it wasn't going to be the last Superman story, but it was going to be their last. And because right after Crisis, you had John Byrne's Man of Steel come out, and love it or hate it, that defined Superman for the next 15 years. Now the problem is, this book, if you don't, it will make you tear up. It is so not depressing, just emotional. I mean, you've got the scene between Crypto's scene and not Metallo, the Kryptonite Man, is just heart-wrenching. The Legion comes back to give Superman a statue. Just everything. Could not have been written better. So as much as I dislike the man, personally, I've never met him, of course, but his interviews and articles, Alan Moore knocked it out of the park with this, and especially coupled with Kurt Swan's just beautiful, gorgeous pencils. Now, what was nice was there was actually, let me go back and get this. There was actually 2 more stories in here, and it was The Jungle Line from DC Comics Presents, featuring Swamp Thing. And then For the Man Who Has Everything, from Superman 11. And it had, featured the Mongol. And the Mongol put a plan of something on Superman's chest to give him the image, in his head, what he wanted. So anyway, this book is a steal. I mean, it is well worth... I did not pay the cover price for this. This was a Sunday morning special. I paid $5 for this. It is $25, and honestly, it is well worth it. Check it out on Amazon. I'm sure eBay. You can get different types of deals on this. You get the single issues. Honestly, this is, if you are a Superman fan, if you are a Silver Age fan, and you have not read this book, or these two, you need to, because they are just truly, truly phenomenal, and a must-have for any collection. The next things I got, I wanted to bring these up. In my youth, and I'm talking 7th grade, 8th grade, my wonderful, wonderful librarian had this book, and it was the original Encyclopedia of Comic Book Heroes. Now, it was also oversized, and quite honestly, none of it is canon anymore. None of it, because I mean, we were talking, but it was a complete history from 1939 up. I mean, and it was cross-referenced, and it told you what day, May, June 1947, Luther's invented a miraculous, quote, life ray. I mean, it has the complete history of Lois Lane and Lex Luthor and the Legion of Superheroes, and it has everything. I mean, even just from Hugh Rowland, Ed Rouse, Roxar, Round Table. I mean, just anything you have. Now, there was 3 of them. There was the Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. Now, I, of course, have not got to read Wonder Woman yet. I just picked that up in June. But anyway, if you're looking for some just great sit on the toilet time, as much as I hate to say that, just something fun to read, something that will actually give you some knowledge that you may or may not have known or wanted. These are great. You can pick them up for $5, $10 at places, and they're normally, $20 a piece. Well worth it. Lots of reading material, and it gives you an insight into how, let's just say, how the DC Comics were prior to Crisis of Infinite Earths. Now, the last thing that I'm going to go over is basically a little bit of current reading. Most of my stuff's still packed up, so I don't have the issues in front of me. But I'm going to talk about the recent Trinity War. From DC. Basically, it ran through Justice League of America, Justice League Dark. Had a couple ancillary books with Constantine, Trinity of Sin Pandora, Trinity Sin of Phantom Stranger. It's a nice run. It was a good story. The last issue felt a little rushed, like they were trying to sledgehammer it into Forever Evil. I guess I can understand that. You're on a time frame. You might lose it. I think it would have been. I think it would have been a benefit for more than maybe a double page or double sized book or something like that. Art was steady, good story. A little Traitor in the Mist. No, I mean, it's just it had the classics of a good storyline, leading up to Forever Evil 1. Which leads you to more questions than what you had already. Now, this month is currently September. It's Villains Month, so the forever evil concept, or the story has kind of stopped, and they're focusing on the villains. Now, my take is what's going to happen is they are going to go and they're going to take this and run with it and show just how evil the difference between villains are. Are the rogues more evil than the Batman villains? Are Superman villains more deadly than the rogues? And I think that they're going to get pitted together, and then the Crime Syndicate of America is going to be there in the middle of it, deciding who lives and who dies. That's just my choice. That's my thing. And then the other thing that I am absolutely loving, and I would have never thought I'd say this, Brian Michael Bendis has brought me back to the X-Men. The X-Men titles are almost flawless. The only one I'm not really liking is Uncanny. Or not Uncanny, Astonishing. The last 5-6 issues with Iceman being schizophrenic is just idiotic. But Uncanny X-Men, all new X-Men, Battle for the Atom, and I'm even loving X-Men Legacy. I mean, it's been fantastic reading about Legion. I mean, this is a character that has been around since 1984, 85, and we've seen very little of him except every 5-6 years someone wants to pull him out and try to destroy everybody. I think this is a wonderful take on him. The art's been a little iffy from time to time, but by and large, it's a great book. So right now, the next week I'm going to talk more about the Infinity crossover that's going on, and maybe a little bit more of the DC villains once I get some of that read. So right now we're talking about 12 minutes, so if you're still with me, I'm glad to have you back. And this is Justin Allen, and thank you for watching Bear's Book Rundown.